Judge Judy began by confirming the facts. There was no signed lease, but there was an oral agreement and a substantial deposit. Miss Sims had paid a total of $3,627 before even moving in. Judge Judy acknowledged that a written lease wasn't necessary for a rental agreement to exist. A deposit holds the property, and when it's given, the landlord typically stops showing the house to others. Miss Sims presented her evidence: the dust, the tarp, the alleged mold. Judge Judy examined the photos closely. She acknowledged the dust but wasn't impressed. "This requires a wet mop and a dustpan," she said sharply. As for the tarp, she noted there was no visible hole in the roof. And while the kitchen photo showed something unpleasant, it was impossible to tell whether it was mold or spilled food. Judge Judy criticized the lack of broader context in the photos. If the rest of the house had been in bad shape, Miss Sims should have brought more than just a few isolated images. Judge Judy pointed out that if the house truly was unlivable, Miss Sims should have had clearer evidence. After all, she was asking for thousands of dollars back. Based on what she saw, Judge Judy didn't believe the house was in such poor condition that a reasonable person wouldn't move in. Miss Sims tried to argue that she never signed the lease, which Judge Judy accepted. Because of that, Miss Hollins couldn't pursue her counterclaim for the full amount of the lease. But that didn't mean Miss Sims could walk away without consequences. The verbal agreement, the deposit, and her choice to have a piano delivered all pointed to a binding rental relationship, even if brief. Judge Judy made her decision. Miss Sims was not entitled to get her deposit back. But the story didn't end there. Miss Hollins had filed a counterclaim, arguing that Miss Sims caused her distress and legal costs. She claimed that Miss Sims had harassed her with texts and even involved a lawyer while still occupying the house. Judge Judy wasn't having it. "She wanted her money back," she said plainly. "That's not harassment." Judge Judy explained that landlords should expect tenants to push back when money is involved. Filing a claim or sending texts isn't harassment. It's a dispute. And since Miss Sims never officially signed a lease and had only moved in a single item, Judge Judy wasn't convinced she owed Miss Hollins anything beyond what had already been paid. In the end, Judge Judy dismissed Miss Hollins' counterclaim. Miss Sims lost her deposit, but didn't know anything more. The courtroom was left with one clear lesson. When entering into an agreement, especially one involving thousands of dollars and a family's future, documentation and clear communication are everything. A mop, a tarp, and a few pictures were not enough to overturn what was ultimately a deal gone sour, where both parties walked away with less than they expected, and a hard truth echoed by Judge Judy herself. If you want to win, you better come prepared. They say first impressions can be deceiving, but for Miss Sims, what she saw on April 6th was the promise of a new beginning, a fresh chapter for her and her 3 children.
A 5-bedroom house.
A 5-bedroom house that, with a little elbow grease, could become a warm and stable home. But within weeks, her dream unraveled, revealing a tangled web of dust, deposits, disagreements, and a courtroom clash on national television with none other than Judge Judy herself. Miss Sims was a single mother of 3, searching for a place to call home.
On April 6th,
she had been looking for something spacious enough for her family. And when she came across a 5-bedroom house owned by Miss Hollins, she felt hopeful.
It was $2,600.
She viewed the house on April 6th, and although it needed a bit of cleaning and updating, she liked its layout and structure.
$2,600.
Right.
It was a house
so you
with
were
potential.
serious about renting this house.
Miss Hollins, the landlord,
Right? She was
assured her that
serious
all the
about
necessary
renting this house.
repairs
Gave
and
you the
cleaning
check.
would be completed
deposited the
before
check.
move-in
did.
day.
So now you have
That
the money.
agreement gave Miss
And
Sims the
then there
confidence
was
to
some
move
additional
forward.
money that you sent to her
That same
before you
day,
moved
Miss
in.
Sims gave
When
Miss
was that?
Hollins
I
a deposit of
deposited another check on the
$2,600,
16th of
$2,000 as a
in the
damage
amount of
deposit, and $600
to
as a
cover
pet deposit
the
for her
partial
two
rent that would have been
cats.
due from the 17th.
From the 17th
There was no
to the
formal
1st
lease
of
signed
May.
yet,
And what was the
but
total
it was
monthly
clear
rent
both
on the
women
house?
were
The
serious.
total monthly rent
With the
on the
deposit
house was
paid and arrangements
$2,200.
made,
And then,
Miss
according to
Sims
what I
felt
read, you
she was
went to
one
the
step
house on or
closer
about
to
the
settling
17th.
into
It
her
was
new
on the
life.
19th. Yes.
The
And
lease
you
was
had
supposed to
already started
begin
to
on
pay rent.
April
Right.
Effective the
17th.
17th because you
On
had
April
sent a check to
16th,
cover the 17th.
Miss Sims
through May
deposited
1st.
another
Agreed. You get to the house on
$1,027
the 19th,
to cover
and
rent
what do you
from
find?
April
I
17th
found
to
that
May
the
1st.
house was in a
The full
total
rent for the
state of
house was
disrepair.
$2,200 per month,
That the house would be
and she was eager
habitable,
to secure the
clean,
property.
and in good repair.
Everything
Did the
seemed to be
house
in
look
order
the same
until
as it
she
did when you
visited the
had
house
seen it?
again on
What was
April
different
19th.
from your first viewing on
What
the
she
6th
found
to
that
when you
day
moved in on
shook
the
her
19th?
confidence in the rental.
floors were covered
The house,
in
according to her,
what looked like
looked
the
worse than
walls
it had
been
during the first
sanded.
visit.
There was a thick layer
She described
of dust
thick layers
on
of
the
dust on
floors
the
that I have a
floors,
picture of.
I'd like to take
as
a
if the walls had been sanded, but never cleaned up
It was
afterward.
swept up by me.
She even had pictures showing
you an
piles of
example
swept
of-
up dust. There was more.
Got it.
She claimed
Did
a
you sand
tarp
the
covered a
walls? Is
hole
that
in
what
the
you did?
roof,
We painted the walls.
which she hadn't
Basically,
noticed
after
earlier.
Miss Sims
There was
saw the
also
house,
an
it actually
image of a
looked in
lazy
nicer,
Susan in the
condition
kitchen,
afterwards because we painted
with
the house
dark
and got the carpets
spots
cleaned,
she believed to be
and,
mold,
Miss Sims claimed
and another
otherwise.
picture of what she suspected
They
was
painted the
mold
house
on a
between the
basement
6th
wall.
and the 19th.
Miss
Okay,
Sims
what
decided
else?
the
You have
house
other
was
pictures to
unfit
show me?
I
for
do.
her
I
and her
was
children,
unaware at the time
especially
of the
given the
lease,
agreement
when I
that the
first
home
saw
would be
it, that
clean
there's a
and in
hole
good
the roof of
repair.
the house that was covered
She
by a
chose
tarp.
not to move in fully, although she did have a piano delivered there.
And although I
She
know it's
immediately
hearsay,
began
the
asking for
neighbors
her money
on either
back.
side-
Miss Hollins, however, saw things
What
differently.
is this tarp on the top of the
She
house?
said the
I
house
have
was
on
in
the third
better
floor, there's a
condition
skylight,
after Miss Sims'
and
initial
previous
visit,
tenants,
not
liked to cover
worse.
just to keep it a little cooler,
Between
so they put a
April
tarp
6th
over
and
it,
April
and it was
19th,
kept on it.
she
But there was
said
no
they
leak or
painted and
anything
cleaned the
of any
carpets.
sort.
Well, I
The
see a
tarp on the
tarp, but I
roof
don't see
wasn't
a hole.
covering
I
a
believe
hole.
that the water
It was
seeps in
placed over
through
a
the-
Well, what you
skylight to
believe,
block
unless
heat,
you have
as
some
the
proof
previous
of that,
tenants
is
had done.
irrelevant to me.
She
What
claimed
else?
there was
This
no
is the
mold
mold that
and
was
no
growing in the
disrepair.
kitchen.
That I'd
From
like
her
to
point of
see.
view, she had upheld her end of the deal. So the issue came down to this. Was Miss Sims justified in
picture
backing
of?
out?
It is a lazy
And if
Susan
so,
in the
was she
kitchen.
entitled
about
to
this?
a
I
full
I have no idea.
refund?
I have pictures of the
The
kitchen
case
as
made
well,
its way
and,
to
there's
Judge Judy's
no mold or
courtroom.
anything